Yeah, so here we are. What is Shamanic Reiki? And first, what we want to let you guys know is who the heck is Isabel and I. So if you're new to our world, this is ReikiCafe University. I was the founder and creator of ReikiCafe University, and I had big visions and big dreams of what that was going to look like. And I started my Reiki journey a long time ago. So I started my Reiki journey back in 2002. I was catching babies at a birth center as a young 20-year-old and fell in love with Reiki and opening up to my clairvoyant gifts. It started right away for me, and really being introduced to shamanic journey work and shamanic ceremony around 2009. And then it was like the two modalities just kind of interwove together, and there was no way to unlock them. Like they were just joined together. And so the more I started my practice and started my business and started teaching and all of the things, like it was so obvious that I was doing things a little differently. And I was doing things differently in my own authentic truth and in my own authentic path, and really started to say yes to who I am, yes to the energy coming forward, yes to my guides and all those intuitive nudges, saying, yes, shamanic Reiki needs to be taught. And there's not really anyone else teaching this. So I've been in it for a long time. And so those includes helping ghost crossover and intrusive objects or entity removals or soul retrievals or cord cutting or shamanic guided journeys or chakra analysis, all with the basis foundation of Reiki. Okay, so I started teaching shamanic journey work back in 2018. I had many of my clients, like they took the Reiki training and now they wanted the shamanic training. And I was like, am I ready for this, you guys? And, so many yeses, and really pushing me towards the development of this program, which started in 2021. So that's a little bit about me. If you don't know, I am an open book. I don't have secrets. So if you're curious of my ups and downs, my roller coasters in life, like whatever it may be, I'm here. I'm all for it, because I really believe that everyone's got stuff. We all have stuff that we're working through. We don't come into this earth suit, if you will, without the agreement that life has ups and downs. It has beautiful moments of joy and really horrific pieces of pain. And that's what life is. And, I am witness to all of it, and just get to hold space for wherever you're at in your journey. That's where I want to be. So, and really helping you say yes to your authentic you. Like that's what I'm here for. I'm all for it. And then we have wonderful Izzy, who's with us as well. And she joined the Reiki Cafe community 3 years ago, and she's amazing. And I love her. And I'm so happy that Spirit brought her to Reiki Cafe University, because it was like exactly what I needed when I needed it. And then she's just always been there. She's always just been the person to help me take the next step. And so she has gone beyond like my support person. And now she's like, she can teach all of the things. And I love her for it, because like, if I'm sick or whatever happens or whatever it may be, like I fully trust Izzy with our community and with our courses and our classes. And she's the real deal. So I'll let her fill in the gaps. So I had to say that.
Thank you. You know that I love you as well, and I'm so grateful to be part of Reiki Cafe. But for those of you who don't know me, I am Isabel. You might hear me called Izzy. That's kind of just the fun little name that the community has for me, and I absolutely love it. Before coming to Reiki Cafe, I trained as a classical ballet dancer for 16 years, and then I transitioned into nursing and psychology in my university days before finally ending up where I am today, kind of in this spiritual leader, graphic designer, jack of all trades position that I am in now. And it's been such a joy to be able to use each and every one of those skills with Reiki Cafe. So if you see the emails that go out or the websites that we designed, those are all me on the back end. And then of course, I am here with you guys teaching and spreading joy and inspiration and wisdom up front with Christine. So I'm kind of involved in all of the areas of Reiki Cafe. And Christine likes to say, if you have a question, I'm probably your girl, because I am in in all of the little nooks and crannies of Reiki Cafe. But in addition to the work that I do as kind of the support system, I'm also a Reiki master and a Shamanic Reiki practitioner. I am the co-teacher for the Shamanic Reiki Practitioner training, which we are enrolling for now. I'm also the channel for Creative Reiki, which is kind of the unique, one-of-a-kind Reiki that we've brought through into ReikiCafe University that I had the honor of kind of bringing into the world and being the channel for. So if you want to learn more about that, let me know. I absolutely love talking about it. And on that train, I'm also the co-founder of the Reiki coaching program. Like I mentioned before, I have a passion for all things psychology and quantum physics and soul connection and intuition and all of the things. And I'm really passionate about helping the community, helping our clients, our students, the people that we are surrounded with understand that we are both spiritual and human, and finding that balance between humanity and spirituality is one of my favorite things to do, because I think they both have so much value and so much power in our lives. And so I've kind of dedicated my life to helping bring that balance into the world however I can. So I'm so excited and so grateful to be here with you guys today, and I can't wait to see what this webinar brings us.
Yes. So here's what to expect. We're going to cover like what is shamanic Reiki and why would we want to add shamanic practices to your Reiki practice? What does shamanic Reiki sessions actually look like? How does the chakras fit into all of this? What shamanic techniques are taught through ReikiCafe University Shamanic Reiki Practitioner training? And then we're going to, at the end, scratch this last one. We're not doing that. We're going to be doing scholarships. I'm not giving away chakra analysis this time. We're going to just do scholarships because I know you guys are all like, that's what we want. We want a scholarship. So that's what we're going to do today. So what is shamanic Reiki? Shamanic Reiki is fully allowing yourself to show up in your own spiritual gifts. I think like that's the basis of it. We're starting with, what are your innate clairs? What are your innate spiritual gifts? And how can we develop them to their full potential and bring on a few more so that you can see, hear, smell, feel, taste in the spiritual realm? And when we can be in that space of really welcoming in and honoring of our spiritual gifts, then we get to bring that gift to our Reiki sessions. And so that might mean that we can ask for specific information about a client through a shamanic journey work. We can have that vision or message come through depending on our spiritual gifts to really emphasize and highlight and help people shift in their Reiki session. What do you want to add to that, Izzy? Because I know I'm just up here right now.
I know, you just have all the ideas coming through. So I think that for me, shamanic Reiki also really comes down to when we are in, for example, an Usui Reiki Ryoho place where we are in that really classical, traditional Reiki space. It's really about connecting to that divine energy, embracing our spirituality, and coming into this kind of communion with Reiki energy as a whole. Whereas when you move into the shamanic Reiki space, it starts to embrace not only that divine energetic space of Usui Reiki or holy fire or karuna or what have you, it also starts to bring in this element of the earth energy and our spirit teams and our spiritual gifts. So it takes this really beautiful, ethereal, extremely healing energy of Reiki, and it brings it to the level of not necessarily the earth, but it incorporates those earth elements. It brings us into this kind of grounded connection with what healing can look like when we're embracing everything as a whole. And so when we start looking at shamanic Reiki sessions, it's no longer just us with our hands on the client. It becomes this integrated process of bringing in our spirit guides, calling in our power animals, working with the universal healing animals and guides to help clear away the energy that's working in the client or holding them back. And then we're also incorporating this really grounded nature of, like we mentioned on last week's video and podcast, that earth star and that sun star, and really going beyond what we perceive to be Reiki energy and bringing in this more holistic point of view of both the divine and the earth-based elements of what energy can really do for our healing.
Yeah. And so with that, when we have this connection with the elements, when we have a connection with earth, We also are developing a connection with our spirit guides, our Reiki guides, our power animals, the 4 directions. And when we can bring all of that into our sessions, it's amazing. Like, I'm trying to figure out the right word. Magical isn't the right word. It's more like I'm holding space. I'm letting the Reiki flow. And guess what? Here comes Black Panther, or here comes Mouse, or here comes, an archangel, or here comes a guide that I don't recognize because it's not my guide, it's my client's guide, and I can see them in all of that, right? So it's really emphasizing however, for the highest good of the client needs to show up in this, it can happen. And when we can see the chakra flow, when we can feel the intrusive objects, when we can sense the cords and help our client fully release them, then it moves beyond a meditative session to a collaboration with our client to do that deep healing work. So it's really profound. It's really amazing. And I love it. So there's lots of different, shoot offs of what shamanic Reiki can look like. And so, as I just kind of said, we have these nature spirits, we have the elements themselves, we have plant medicine, we have crystals, we have the fae folk, we have these middle world creatures, these beyond ordinary reality energies, and the physical location, the ley lines of the land, like all of this. When we are shamanic Reiki practitioners, we can feel into it, right? And so it goes beyond our conscientious energy of what is here in this 3D reality. We can see beyond it. And all of these energies kind of come out to play with us and to support us in this work and this healing work, right? Go ahead.
I was just going to add something that I absolutely love about shamanic Reiki is I think it also really gives us this door into our subconscious healing space that we don't necessarily see in a traditional Reiki practice. Shamanic Reiki kind of gives us this visual representation of what's happening in our subconscious mind, in our unconscious reality. And it allows us to almost bypass that conscious filter, which we'll talk about when we get to journey work. But it gives us this opportunity to see beyond what we've been perceiving in the past, to see beyond what's right in front of us and really look at what's in that next realm over, what's happening underneath the physical reality, and really tuning into the spiritual and energetic nature of what life here on earth really is. And so when Christine's talking about kind of these middle world spirits, that's really what we mean, is these energetic spiritual beings who are always at work in our life. But if we're just focused on this physical reality, we may not be able to perceive them or commune with them or converse with them or work with them because we're not open to perceiving that spiritual realm. And so shamanic work is really about bringing in that element and opening up our perception so that we can see what's happening beyond just this physical reality and start to embrace all of the spiritual, energetic yumminess that's happening just outside of our current perspective.
Right? So the hands-on healing portion, like we can do this in person or we can do it on Zoom, and you get to be trained in both. And Reiki, once again, is the foundation, right? Reiki is that love, light, healing energy that's just overflowing in abundance from divine source, moving through us and overflowing abundance. We have that as a baseline. If you're joining the Shamanic Reiki Practitioner training, you have your Reiki training already. This is about bringing in the shamanic tools to really bring your shamanic practice to a new place. And so the hands-on healing portion is so much of that, it is slowing down. So yes, we're using that traditional scanning perhaps, but you're really finding where those low dense energies are and how to scoop them up and remove them, filling it in with the love and light energy, utilizing shamanic tools such as the drum, the rattle, the feather, the crystals, and how can those really help reset your vibrational frequency to release those cords or release the sludge in your chakras, or to help move things through more fully in accordance with the free will of our client, right? And so I love doing chakra spinning work. How do you spin the chakras to help release any of the sludge, releases any of the, the stuff that just gets in the way from its full optimal state, right? How can we do that? And then how can we also utilize the breath? Breath and breathing can be a a really amazing shamanic tool, and to invite our client into a breath to help release those cords, or to help release something in the body that's going on. There's this release. So the shamanic portion seems to be release, 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 release for releasing. And then you have Reiki, which is like, and we're bringing in the love and light. But we have to kind of, we take the sludge away, we take the heaviness away, we release everything with the shamanic work, and then we bring in the Reiki work. Because our body becomes like a vacuum, like it's a void that once we clear it all out, all of the stuff, all of the limiting beliefs, all of the things, then our bodies are like a vacuum, and it's just going to suck in whatever is around us. So if we are doing Reiki with the shamanic work, the Reiki gets to come in. The Reiki gets to be that love light energy that kind of seals and heals all of the healing and all of the releases that we've done, to like make sure it can't come back, right? This is really powerful work.
Yeah, absolutely. And that focus, like Christine said, of bringing in that healing afterwards. So there's this back and forth, really communal work together with the shamanic elements and the Reiki elements, because you're clearing out what's holding you back. You've heard us all talk about, limiting beliefs and releasing those things that are no longer serving you. And I'm sure with the new year just behind us, a lot of us probably did our New Year's rituals where we wrote down everything that we didn't want to bring forward into the new year. We burned it. And then we wrote down what we want to manifest in the new year, right? What we want to bring forward. And so we're in this space right now where that's a perfect metaphor for what shamanic Reiki really is, where the shamanic portion is that burning away of what's no longer serving us, that releasing of what's holding us back, so that we can then use that Reiki energy, that beautiful aligned divine energy, to bring in what is meant for us and to heal us fully on all levels.
Yes, right. Oh, it's like perfect harmony. We have both sides, right? And I think that's what I love so much, is that it's so in balance. There's not a denial of the darkness. It's more of like, how can we heal and love those shadow parts of ourselves, and in doing so really do the deeper healing work. And that brings us to the journey work side of things. So part of shamanic Reiki is knowing how to journey. All shamanic practitioners should know how to journey. That's kind of like an integral part of being a shamanic Reiki practitioner, or even just a shamanic practitioner, is learning how to journey to non-ordinary reality. And so we often, whether we recognize it or not, we're doing journey work when we do distance Reiki work. When we do distance Reiki to someone who lives on the other side of the world, or who lives down the street, or whatever it may be, you're going into what the shamanic worlds would call the middle world. You're being able to see the spiritual reflection of this physical world. There's other shamanic realms and the non-ordinary reality space that shamans journey to. And that would be the lower world, where we find our power animals and mythical creatures. And then we have the upper world, where we have our spirit guides, or teacher guides, or Reiki guides, or ancestors, or angels. They're all there, right? And so when we learn how to shamanic journey, we become in this place of empowerment to find all of our own answers. All of our own answers are within ourselves. And by learning how to shamanic journey, it's like we're tapping into our subconscious and tapping into our higher selves and tapping into our spiritual wholeness. Okay. So when we have a question and you have learned how to shamanic journey, and this was a huge pivotal point in my Reiki practice, no longer do we need to look up to a guru, or look up to another teacher, or look up to whoever, because you can shamanic journey to the answers. You can shamanic journey to your Reiki guide to ask, what do I do now? What do I need to learn? Show me the way, and they will show you, right? And I think that's how like I've created the program, right? It was like, okay, now what? And now what should I teach them, right? And it was all in this shamanic journey state of mind, where I was collaborating and conspiring with my guides and with these beautiful entities who wants to bring this energy through for the empowerment of Reiki practitioners. So when you learn how to shamanic journey work, we start our first half of the program really learning how to shamanic journey for ourselves, connecting with our spirit team, connecting with our power animals and our spirit guides and our helpers. Because when we have that as a foundation, then when we go to learn how to shamanic journey for others, we can tell kind of what's going on. We can feel into who is here for us and who's here for the client. And so we need to have that foundation. And so while we learn, we do a lot of healing work. There may be shamanic journey to your inner child. There may be shamanic journey to the spirit of the moon. There might be a shamanic journey to your healing helper who wants to come with you to your sessions, right? And so this is a world of unlimited potential of learning and healing, and you just don't stop. Like, I think this is probably my favorite part about shamanic Reiki is the journey work, because when you have it, you can't ever lose it when you learn how to get there. And everyone is different on their learning path. Some people, this comes really naturally, and some people we have to tweak it, and that's okay. I haven't had a student yet go through our program that didn't get there, right? So it's about not comparison to others people's learning journey, and like just showing up in your authentic truth of going, let's get curious and have Izzy and I help you figure out what are the tweaks that we can make so that this becomes easier and easier and easier and more visual and more hearing and more sensory, so that they can kind of fill in. Yeah.
And I think the other element of journey work that I absolutely love, because like Christine said, this is also my favorite element of shamanic Reiki, is this journey piece, because it's just so powerful and so profoundly healing. Because what it does is not only does it give you the ability to help others, but it also gives you the ability to become your own healer. You no longer have to look outside of yourself for the answers. You have them all within you. And I think one of the things that a lot of people will ask is when we start explaining journey work and how you're going to journey to these shamanic realms and see these beautiful, wonderful healing helpers and all of these things, one of the first questions they ask is, well, how do I know I'm not just making it up? How do I know I'm not just imagining it? And this is where I think what we were talking about earlier with that subconscious healing work really comes in, because what shamanic work allows you to do is it allows you to bypass your conscious filter. So what I mean by this is we all know that our conscious mind is only 5% of our brain, right? All of the rest of it, that 95% is all subconscious processes that kind of dictate how we live our lives. But that also means that so many of our core memories, our limiting beliefs, our anxieties, all of these things are also stored in our subconscious mind. But because we have that filter, that kind of wall between our subconscious and our conscious, it's really hard to figure out what's holding us back. What are our limiting beliefs? What trauma is being triggered right now? Because your mind is saying, nope, not safe. We're not going to look at it. And it puts it back in the subconscious box. And you never really see it again. You see it in symptoms and triggers in your life, but you never really get to know what's going on unless you do some really deep digging. And that's why journey work is so powerful, because what it's doing is it's kind of giving you this backdoor approach to accessing your subconscious mind. It's giving you this key to unlock that door between the two and have an open conversation with the two elements of your psyche, essentially. And so my favorite kind of metaphor that I use for this is, let's say that you just went through a divorce and you're having a hard time with this feeling of being worthy of receiving love. You're most likely not going to shamanic journey and see a vision of you in the middle of your divorce. Most likely what's going to happen is maybe you will shamanic journey and you'll see a garden, and the left side is completely shriveled and dried up and suffering, and the right side is maybe barred off by a lot of thorns. And it's that symbology there of the left side is our receiving side and it's cut off and it's not being fed, while we're keeping ourselves safe with those thorns on the right side, which is our giving nature. We've become kind of jaded. These kinds of things where it's not about, am I imagining it? Because at the end of the day, in a way, yes, you are, but that doesn't mean it's not real. And I think that's a big difference. And that's something that shamanic journey work teaches us, is it's learning how to trust ourselves fully and completely. It's learning how to let those things that we've kept locked up for so many years come to the forefront of our healing and know that we're safe to do so, and that we have this team of spiritual helpers to help us along the way. It's that complete unlocking of your healing experience based on the fact that you have both this spiritual energy coming forward, these spiritual helpers to guide you along the way, combined with your own ability to kind of overcome your own blocks and walls and triggers so that you can see what's happening beneath the surface.
Yes, yes, yes. And all of that. Yes. Right. So one of the questions that came in, which I love this, what's the difference between spirit animals versus power animals? And this is one of our first training videos in the Shamanic Reiki Practitioner training. We talk specifically on this for I think it's a half an hour, 45-minute video, but here's the brief version of that. Power animals are our personal power animals, just like we have a personal guardian angel or a personal spirit guide that has been with us since birth. And so the shamanic way of looking at things is that we are the weakest species. When we are born into this human body, we are very vulnerable. And as we first let out that baby cry, we call forward a power animal to walk with us on this journey of human life. So to help protect us and help us in our survival. And so we have our personal power animals that are with us versus spirit animals are the universal collective consciousness of that species. So take wolf, for example, or bear, for example, they have gifts to offer us and may enter into our journey of life and shamanic work at some point to help us go through things that we're struggling with in our personal life. When we need, for example, if bear shows up, perhaps we need to take a rest because they're hibernating this season of life, right? Or perhaps we have snake show up and she's teaching us how to release our old skin if we've outgrown our past, right? So they show up to give us lessons and they'll be with us for some time, but it could be briefly, whereas our personal power animal is with us. And so there's the brief understanding of the difference between the two. And we definitely go much more in depth in the coursework. Okay. So before we move on, I do want to talk about a couple other things around shamanic Reiki, and that's the ceremony ritual piece. And so this is a way to create sacred space, a way to create your altars, a way to invocate our spirit helpers, the power of the four directions. And this can be really healing just to create a ceremony for our clients and have it be a time where they can come in and feel the elements. In this picture, you can see that there's water and perhaps there's a candle and there's parts of the earth with this pumpkin. And so there's these pieces of how can we create a space that feels sacred, and how can we utilize altars and how can we utilize invocations, particularly to the four directions, or what I like to use, 7 directions. So we have our cardinal directions, we have our guides from above, our guides from below, and within our higher self. And so when we call upon them, you can feel their energy just come into the room. And so your sessions begin to be highlighted in that energy of this power of yes, we're all showing up here to support you. And what does that look like? Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful. So why add shamanic Reiki? Why add shamanic practices to your Reiki? Well, like we've said, learning how to journey, one, it gives you such confidence and such clarity in your sessions and this huge sense of peace, right? And so that's that. I mean, like I just said, it was a game changer for my practice to know that I had all of the answers within me, and this was my avenue to retrieve them.
Absolutely. And when we really look at adding in those shamanic practices to our current spiritual practice, to our current spiritual understanding, it really is about what we talked about at the very beginning, where you're creating this holistic avenue for healing. You're embracing all of the elements of spirituality and pulling them into one healing session. You're taking this really beautiful and unique healing practice, and you're bringing it into your life in a tangible way. And so all of these things that are listed on this slide, finding that confidence, peace, and clarity, ditching the fear, connecting with your spirit team, creating full transformations in yourself and your client, these are things that start to come easily. And not only that, but one of the most profound things that I think shamanic practices really give you is this sense of trust in yourself. You really start to bring in that sense of confidence, peace, and clarity, but it is all rooted in this trust in yourself, this knowing that you can do the thing, this knowing that you are always supported, that you are loved, and that you do have the power to create these really amazing and transformative experiences in everyone's lives that you're bringing this work into. And so it really is just, it's not, to me, it's not so much why would you add shamanic practices, but there's almost this element of why would you not, when it can create so much change and it helps you to embrace all of the elements of yourself. There's really nothing to lose here, because what it's going to do is it's going to give you access to yourself in a more full way, in a really transforming way that's also going to transform every element of your life. Because like we've said again and again and again, your internal reality creates your external reality.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Your internal reality reflects our external reality. Right. So if we are getting energetically drained from doing a session, that's a reflection of like what's going on inside of us. Is there ego showing up that's I'm wanting to fix the person, or I should do this, or, what have we put upon ourselves so that we're actually giving the client our energy rather than Reiki universal source energy, right? So understanding these energetic lines, understanding our spiritual gifts, understanding if we are clairsentient, meaning we're empaths, how we can control that so that we can utilize it as a gift instead of being nervous and scared of what it offers, right? So shamanic Reiki sessions, they are more transformative because you can pull out things that no longer serve the client, which can include cord cutting or intrusive object removal. And so we're releasing energetically. And if the client is ready to fully release the limiting beliefs and the stories that are attached to that release, it's gone now. It's not coming back. And so how often do we have regular Reiki clients and they come back and they come back for the same thing over and over and over again? And it's because they're not doing their free will internal work. And so by adding in the shamanic practices, we're giving them something tangible to see as well. And perhaps we give them the ceremonial energetic knife to cut that cord. They're a part of the process and not just being witness to something happening to them, right? So that's a big piece of why to add the shamanic, is because it has that balance of give and take and receive and release. Like it's in balance. So all the while we're using our spirit guides and welcoming in the angelics and asking for assistance from our clients' guides and our universal healer animals. And that's a game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it really is about taking what we already have and deepening it, moving it to this place where it's not just a one and done kind of thing where you're going to do a session and then 3 months later you're going to come back because that issue wasn't truly healed. It's really about doing that deep work, getting through all of it and creating a space where you can heal fully, not just for now, but forever.
Yeah. And in doing so, you release the fear. When our students graduate from our programs, they no longer fear walking through the cemetery, or they no longer fear like having a client and then it feeling like icky energy come in with them. Like there's no fear left because you're stepping fully in your power, knowing that you know who to call upon to really have that be a transformational session. And so there's no fear there. So we get to live our lives in a state of expansion instead of in a state of contraction. And when we do that, everything flows and our clients respond to that. I think this was the reason why it was easy for me to build a practice that I was seeing 15 to 20 clients a week, and did I get tired? No, it was more of like, I was tired because I forgot to eat and I didn't drink enough water, but it had nothing to do with the energy work. The energy work just shows up. right? As long as our egos aren't in the way. And so you get to learn all of these things. And in that the practice in our Shamanic Reiki Practitioner training, we're going to teach you how to also build your Reiki practice. Like we have the business skills included in our coursework so that you can learn how to build it out while you learn the practice as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what does a shamanic Reiki session look like? So just like we talked a moment ago, like we have this ceremony and ritual type piece to it, where the session itself might have a very different start off point than a regular Reiki session. We might be including sage and feathers and sound and really calling in those directions so that there's that you feel like the room is full. That's what it feels like. It feels like the room is full. The power animals are there, the spirit guides are there. Everyone who's ready to do the healing work and really help the client shift is there in the room. And so it feels amazing. And it feels like, oh, I'm just holding space from the practitioner's point of view. I'm just holding space while all of these other things are happening. And I just get to be here and be present as Panther does this job and this angel does this job and whatever it may happen. And so there's a lot less like I'm trying to figure it out from a logical point of view, what my next step should be. It's all very organic, right? So, and there's also the piece of it like, okay, well, for this client, they just told me all of this information and it spoke to this chakra. And so we can do some muscle testing to figure out if this chakra is in flow or if it's weak or if it's out of alignment. And then we learn, and part of the program is to do chakra spinning to open up the chakra and feel into, is there like residue here? Is there intrusive objects here? What's turning down this flow process and pull out anything that we need, right? And then the session itself might include a shamanic journey or a guided meditation. Like you learn how to kind of just interweave them depending on who your client is. It's once again, I don't have a set plan in my head of this is the way a shamanic session looks, right? Oftentimes with Reiki, it's like, this is the way the session go. My hands go here and then they go here and then they go here and I have to end up here, right? With the shamanic Reiki, there's much more trust in spirit. There's much more trust in allowing your hands to go and do what they need to do, however that looks, and to use the tools in an organic way. So if I have a drum and I have a rattle and I have a wand and I have a feather, I'm energetically feeling into what wants to come out and play in the session for the highest good of the client. So I'm not figuring it out. It's not a mental, logical process. It all becomes very easy and in flow, and it can all be done via distance as well.
Right. And I think as Reiki practitioners, we've probably all had those experiences where we're in a Reiki session and an ancestor shows up, or someone's guide comes in, or we start seeing colors over someone's sacral chakra. And so we know that there's work to be done there. These experiences that kind of take us beyond the realm of what Reiki typically looks like. And those experiences are where you start to poke through into what a shamanic Reiki session can look like, because those moments where you're using your clairvoyance to see those colors, or you're hearing a message about what someone needs to experience in the session, or a message about something that your client needs to know, or something that you need to know, but maybe your client doesn't, or when a guide shows up or an ancestor comes into the room, anything like this, these experiences that kind of take us beyond traditional Reiki, these are things that are very, very normal in a shamanic Reiki session, because it's this integration of all of those elements into one session. We're not just focusing on the aura or on the chakras or on the external energy or on one particular area. You're bringing it all in. You're looking at their emotions, their thoughts, their physical experiences, their chakras, their aura, their ancestors, their guides, all of the things become incorporated into one session. And so that's why there are so many techniques and tools that you can use in a shamanic Reiki session, because you're not just focusing on one thing or one area in a single session. You're focusing on everything. And that kind of focus requires a lot of techniques and tools to be able to provide that level of support. And so that's kind of what I like to tell people when we're first starting to talk about what does a shamanic Reiki session look like. It's like, remember that time that something in your session happened that just was a little bit beyond what Reiki usually is. It's that, but times 10. It's that, but if that moment were an entire practice, an entire session. And that's really what it looks like and feels like to be a shamanic Reiki practitioner.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Like anything is possible. Anything is possible. And you get to just flow with it. You don't, because their fear is gone, you allow it to unfold naturally without like a prescription-based model. Right. Yeah. Timing your sessions, like it depends. I would say if you're doing, oftentimes, like I will cap my time. Like I'm not going to go 2-3 hours. And here's the cool thing about shamanic Reiki is that you step into a space of time is an illusion. We can do things very quickly. Like the shamanic Reiki demo I did for our students about a month ago was only 45 minutes long. And yet she could have probably come to 10 Reiki sessions to do the work that we did in that 45 minutes, right? So we teach you how to kind of find those areas and go in deep so that we can have big releases, big work done. And it doesn't matter how much time is on the clock. You learn how to keep your eye on the clock so that if you're supposed to be done at a certain time, you're done. But my bigger concern is, am I doing too much versus not enough? Like, we are moving through a lot of stuff. So it's like, actually, I think Spirit's telling me, my guides are telling me this is enough for today. So it's not necessarily like pushing to see how much you can get done, because I might be doing soul retrievals and cord cutting and a shamanic journey all in an hour, right? So there's not, I would say most of our student graduates are still playing in the 60-minute or 90-minute session space, and that's perfectly fine. And learning how to do chakra analysis of reading someone's chakras in about 30 minutes, right? So all of that's possible. And the more you practice and the more you show up and the more you do the work, the easier it is, the faster it goes, the less stuff is in the way, right? And you're also going, can this client handle that much shift in this time frame? They might not. And maybe we've done a lot and now it's just like, let's support them with Reiki. Let's just support them with Reiki because they've already done the one big thing that they meant to do in that session. Yeah. So how do the chakras fit into this? So chakras are really awesome. I think everyone's heard me talk about them at this point. They're energetic wheels, they're energetic spokes along our main central nervous system. And it wasn't just the yoginis or yoga professionals in India, ancient texts that spoke about them. They're also in the Incas, right? And so there's a shamanic side to the chakras as well, because they're energy centers. So these energy centers speak directly to our nervous system, and that's why they're universally known. They're known across multiple cultures and not just one. Do you want to add to that, Izzy?
I don't think so. I think you've covered it, but it's really about, if you were on our video on, when did we do that? On Monday or whenever it was, there was that idea of viewing the chakras as a system. And that element really comes into shamanic practices as well, where we're looking at these energetic systems that are part of our body, that are part of our energy, and that are part of our lives. And so as a shamanic Reiki practitioner, that is a primary focus in our sessions, because it's a way of looking at the overall well-being of ourselves and our clients, right? Our chakras have so much information about our spiritual, energetic, and physical well-being that when we use them as kind of a lens for healing, they are really rich resources for a shamanic Reiki practitioner, because when we're looking at, say, the root, we can look at the client's anxieties and are they feeling safe? Are they physiologically taken care of? Versus when we're looking at the heart, we can look at, are they allowing themselves to receive love? Are they allowing themselves to give love, et cetera, et cetera? And so it allows us to have these really beautiful lenses through which we can view the overall healing of ourselves and our clients.
Yes. Okay. So what shamanic techniques are taught in the Shamanic Reiki Practitioner training here at ReikiCafe University? So you're going to learn how to journey to non-ordinary reality. You're going to learn how to journey to 3 primary shamanic realms and meet your power animals, meet your guides, and really start developing a relationship with your spirit team. Okay. And we've even had students, they have the basics, and then I'm like, oh, you need a logo? Why don't you go try to journey to your business guide and ask them what it should look like? And then it happens, right? Like once you learn the format of how to do journey work, then you can take it to new levels and new places, right? So we also learn how to do the shamanic journey sessions, the shamanic Reiki sessions, what they look like, what they can include, including muscle testing, chakra spinning, intrusive object pulling out, using the rattle, the drum, the crystals, the feathers, all of the things, how to create your sacred space, how the introduction to things like plant medicine and star seeds and the shamanic drum and shamanic art. Like those topics are introduced throughout the program. And also how to create your personalized invocation to the directions and understanding when to call on the archangels and other heavy lifters to help you in your practice.
Absolutely. And so then we even take it a step further and we're looking at how can we integrate all of these things into our sessions. So we're not just going to teach you these techniques. We're not just going to show you what it looks like to be a shamanic Reiki practitioner. We're actually going to help you embody these techniques, embody what it looks like to be a shamanic Reiki practitioner. And so we have practicums sprinkled throughout the course where you're practicing on fellow students, you're practicing on clients. You have this really safe space to start and do some trial and error on what does my life as a shamanic Reiki practitioner look like. We're not just going to show you what it could be and then leave you out to dry. We're going to walk you through the entire process of not only are we going to show you the techniques, but we're going to show you how to implement them first on yourself and then to start working with others so that by the time you have come out of this course, by the time you've graduated, you feel confident on all levels to really step forward and claim your identity, claim your reality as a shamanic Reiki practitioner. This isn't just something where you're going to watch the videos and then you're going to be done. No, you're going to take the steps, do the work, practice the skills so that you can come out on the other side really having that lasting transformation and that empowered reality of saying, I am a shamanic Reiki practitioner. I can help create profound transformation, and this is who I am. Okay, you are muted, my friend.
I am muted. So we're gonna start doing our drawings for scholarships and any questions that you have. So if you've got questions and I have not yet answered them or Izzy hasn't answered them, please let us know in the chat. And if you are like, I want in on the drawing and yet you haven't commented, because I can see that we have 22 people here and I think I have about 10 people entering the drawing. I need to know. So show up. Let me know that you're here and that you would be interested. And even if you even if we put your name in the drawing and then you're like, this just really isn't the right program for me, that is okay. One of the reasons why we do this the way we do is because we want you to turn in your application. We want to know what your background is. We want to feel if this is a right fit for you. There has been students that have applied and I was like, you know what? I think course is going to be boring for you. You've already taken a lot of shamanic training work. I think you would be better in our advanced course. And there's been times where it's like, you know what? You have a lot going on right now and you don't really have the time and energy and commitment with all of the things going on in your world. What about this course? This other course might be a better fit for you. So part of the calls, the connect calls and the application process is really feeling into, yes, I am feeling led and called, knowing and trusting that the divine energy is here to support me to do the big, deeper work, because the coursework is really set up to have a lot of personal healing involved. You're not just learning how to support others, you're learning how to heal yourself in the process.
Absolutely. So keep those questions coming. We have somebody asking if they do this and they have a question, how do they get in touch? You guys can email us at admin@ReikiCafeUniversity.com, or you can always reach out to us on Facebook as well. And then Shannon wants to know, how do we get our name in?
Your name's
if you
in.
have commented, then you are in. There's nothing else you have to do.
Yep, for sure. So, Izzy, will you please put the website link in the chat too?
Yes.
And I'll go ahead and put Rick in as well.
So if you guys want to apply, if you want to learn more, that link is just in the chat. You can give it a click. And we always say you have nothing to lose by just filling out your application and everything to gain. So feel free to check out that website to look at it, learn more about it, put your application in and see what happens. Let's see.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Like, there are some people who are saying like, wow, I've been just doing this and I didn't even know that there was a community of other shamanic Reiki practitioners. And I think we're out there, and I think we're finally kind of coming out of the closet, because it hasn't been open to really do this work for a long time. Like, I think there's a lot of, I think the energy of the world has shifted and changed, that we're open to it. We're open to all of it. However, in the fastest way we're going to heal. And I think the new generations coming in who are younger they're movers and shakers. They're here to level up our collective consciousness. And so more and more healing modalities are available. More and more people are getting reconnected with the earth and remembering why they are here. So all of that, yes, totally makes sense. Melissa says, have you found it difficult to get those in the religious matrix to come now offering shamanic Reiki? You know, from my own personal practice, like when I started my practice, I lived in a town of around 38,000 people. So it was a small town in a red state, pretty blue city, but overall, I'm not practicing in the South. I have done some really awesome talks down there. When I go visit Alabama, I oftentimes teach at their healing centers. And I think most people, I think there is that shift happening. I definitely have students who are living in tiny towns in rural areas, and they're building their businesses. So I definitely think it's possible, but it all comes down to you letting go of the concern of judgment from others. They can't burn us anymore. They can't burn us at the stake. They can't hang us. Like, once we get over our witch's wound and we step into our full authentic truth and power and say, yep, that's who I am. Yep, that's what I do. And I'm not changing because of your opinion. When you have that energy, that's when things change. When you make yourself small so that in fear of other people's opinions and how they're going to react, that's when you don't get clients. When you are just out in the open and this is who I am, then people are like, that they feel that power, they feel that energy.
Yes. And I'll kind of add to that I am in Tennessee, so I am practicing in the deep South. And I think that the flip side of this is, yes, like Christine was saying, making sure that you're able to kind of move past that fear of judgment in yourself, because like we know, our inner healing is going to be reflected in our outer reality, which I'm sure you know if you're here. But I think for me, the other element of it is really trusting and understanding that the clients who are meant to work with me are going to find me regardless of the language that I use. And that may be controversial for some people, where they're thinking, well, if someone grew up in a really strictly Christian household and they hear the word shamanic, they're going to run the other way. And maybe that's true, but I choose to take that as it's just not on their path yet. It doesn't mean that I did anything wrong. It doesn't mean that they did anything wrong, but just the way that we don't want to be evangelized to by people in the religious sphere, they also don't want to be evangelized to by us. And so there's kind of this element of honoring and respecting the autonomy of the client that we're working with, and realizing that they have free will, they have full choice. And just like so many people who are here have taken that leap when something felt right for their soul, when they were like, I don't know why, probably Reiki, honestly, right? I think that's how Reiki finds all of us, is where like, I don't know why I'm supposed to do this, but this is for me and I'm going to do it anyway, even if it doesn't make logical sense. I trust that the clients who are meant to work with me on a shamanic level will have that same soul level calling. And when that happens, it will be regardless of the language that I use, tempering that with also understanding that it's okay to play with how you use your words, right? Like if you are in a conversation with someone, let's say at a party, who is from a religious background, it's okay to be sensitive to their needs and maybe not go full in on power animals and spirit guides, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's this balance between when we're in conversation, when we're in a relationship with someone, whether that's just an acquaintance or a friend or whatever, understanding that we can be sensitive to their needs and their beliefs and use our language to reflect that. Because again, words are just kind of a reflection of that energy, versus when we're in a client space and we're a practitioner talking to a client, understanding that it's not our job to make them come to any decision or help them to come to a session before they're ready to come to it. They'll come when they're ready, and it will find them when they're ready, regardless of how we are presenting it, because at the end of the day, it has more to do with energy and soul path than with marketing and verbiage.
Yes, right? Absolutely. So today we are doing yet another drawing, another scholarship drawing for our Shamanic Reiki Practitioner training. So we're going to do 3 drawings for $500 a piece. That's what we're going to do today. Okay. So I've got everyone's name who has made a comment. It's in here. And our first name is Rachel Stokes Lavelle. And we have Jennifer Cluley. And we have, here comes number 3, Peter Martin. Peter Martin. $500 scholarships.
Yay. Congratulations to all of our winners. We are so excited for this opportunity for you guys. If you want to fill out that application at the link that was sent, mention that you're one of our scholarship winners. If you have any questions, reach out to us, email us, Facebook message. If you have our phone numbers, text us, like whatever it is, find a way to get in touch, and we will make sure that your scholarship is honored as you step into this space of shamanic healing. So yay.
Yeah, absolutely. And, so go to the website, go fill out your application. I'll see your names if you got the scholarship. Know that if you fill out the application and you join the group, and then we go on to do our student panel on Sunday, and I do a drawing there and you get a scholarship, then we'll still apply it. So there's no need to wait to apply. Okay. So get your applications in, be in touch. If you're interested, know that we do offer payment plans. We try to make this as available as possible to all those who feel like the right fit and the right match this. So if you're feeling called, please be in touch. Okay. Beautiful. Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone, and have a beautiful